How's it going, John?
It is going well tonight. How are you, Eric?
I'm doing well. We survived election day here.
Election day, election week, maybe election month.
Election month.
We shall see.
Good.
As we are recording Wednesday night, it is unclear who has won the presidential election in the United States. And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, we could move on from there. I'll jump right into my weekend because it was a somewhat a weekend of ups and downs.
Okay.
So my daughter works at a preschool. She's a teacher's aide, essentially. She just helps corral kids, and she goes after school for her, and so she's just kind of there to help after the school day is kind of over until the parents come to pick their kids up from work. So that's kind of her role. She draws them pictures, and even that age, they're 3 to 6 years old. They wear masks, and they have little mats that are 6 feet apart that they all have to sit on, after. Anyways.
Wow.
So it's, I guess I'm prefacing this with, the school is doing a really, trying to follow all the guidelines, and it's not a bunch of, it's not 20, 3-year-olds running around as you would expect 3-year-olds to run around. But on Thursday, she came home from work a little bit distressed because she found out that one of the kids that had been going to school Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday had a play date on Sunday, that earlier Sunday, with another little kid who had tested positive for COVID.
Mm.
And so that kid was taken out, the school was canceled, and we were waiting to find out the test results from the little kid to see what we needed to do. This is one of those things where, since I really hadn't been paying attention to it, I didn't know. My daughter was worried about, well, what happens now? I've got, activities with my friends. Do I have to now quarantine for 14 days? And so we went on websites, in the Oregon state websites, to try to see what to do. We went on the insurance websites for, medical providers. Friday we went down to a medical facility to talk to them and say, how do we get tests? And their basic answer was, we can give you a test. We'll charge your insurance. We don't know what we'll have to find out how much you will be charged above and beyond your insurance. And it will take 7 to 10 days to get your results back. And
7 to 10 days.
I was like, well, that'll be out, that'll be too far. And then it was, well, you can go to this website, and it takes you through a bunch of steps to determine whether or not you qualify for rapid testing, like the 24-hour turnaround testing.
Okay.
And apparently since we were, one person removed, potentially.
Third-hand exposure?
Yes, this was potential third-hand exposure. We didn't qualify for rapid testing. We didn't qualify for anything other than if we wanted to just do what apparently anybody can do. You can walk into any medical facilities that are equipped for COVID testing and take a test, which they don't process there. They send it off to a lab, and you get your results in 7 to 10 days. So we ended up not doing that, but we did kind of self-quarantine for the weekend. And early Monday, we found out that the little boy who may have been, or who played with another kid, the week before, tested negative. So now we're out. We don't qualify for testing.
You hope
at all, because who knows? Because it still baffles me that we have not figured out. Yeah, we have not figured out how to do testing in this country. So hopefully that will change soon. And
rapid, cheap tests are a huge answer to how to open up safely.
Yep. So daughter number 2 and I, over the weekend, took advantage of the excess of eggs that we had and made angel food cake.
Awesome.
And it was very tasty.
What did you do with
12
the yolks?
egg whites and a bunch of sugar.
A very, very yellow omelet?
No, we had planned to make several different types of custards.
Ooh.
Like a key lime custard and a lemon custard, and there was some other custards, and then we didn't have the right ingredients. And like, well, should we go to the grocery store? But it was like, but we don't know about the test. Should we really go to the grocery store if we may or may not? And so we didn't go to the grocery store, and we ended up not actually making anything. So
dun, dun, dun.
There are 12 egg yolks sitting in the fridge still.
Oh my.
In a container. And I'm like, they're probably bad now. We should probably
That's funny.
Just say oops and
That's funny.
Try again another time.
I wouldn't know like what's something that used egg yolks and not egg whites. Custard.
Apparently custards.
I didn't know that.
Because they take 4 egg yolks for a batch. I don't know. I don't remember how many I think it was 4. A serving size of 4 would take 4 egg yolks.
Huh. How did the angel food cake turn out? That's the big question.
It was very tasty. Nice and airy and fluffy. And she was very excited because, you bake it and then you flip it upside down and let it cool upside down. And she did one, 3 or 4 months ago, and it was heavy and thick and it fell and it was just a blob of, she was not happy with it. So I said, well, hey, let's try again. And this time it stayed light and airy. I think it probably could have used baking a little bit longer. We probably took it out of maybe 5 or 10 minutes too early, but it was still very tasty. Very tasty. So
with a little bit of strawberries and whipped cream.
Uh-huh.
Yum.
That was my weekend.
Okay.
COVID and angel food cake.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. What did I remember what we did because, oh my gosh, I wielded a shovel a lot this past weekend is what I did. I think I said on the podcast, we went and we got a whole bunch of cedar boards to kind of do beds in our garden area.
Right. From the reclaimed wood place.
Yeah, exactly. And, so we got them all in this past weekend, which was a lot of work because we, mainly because we dug out a little bit the, aisles, cause we wanted a 2-foot aisle. I went and bought off Amazon one of those, garden carts that you can kind of sit on and wheel. I'm almost looking forward to weeding next summer. So we'll see. So we did nice aisles, and I was so tired this past year of trying to weed the aisles. I mean, I just didn't. And so we put down weed cloth that kind of went underneath the cedar boards on both sides, and then came up the inside of the cedar boards, and so no weeds should be growing in those rows or in the aisles for many years to come. And so
nice.
It's totally awesome. I took a picture that I think I can put in the show notes here. And I'm super happy. I'm super happy about that. So anyway, so that was all day Saturday and all day Sunday, and I was taking Advil on Sunday. I never take pills. I mean, almost never. Boy, did I take some Advil on Sunday, and then boy, did I take some Advil on Monday, because my back was like, what in the heck are you doing? It's the whole weekend warrior kind of thing, right? Sit in my comfortable chair for, however many hours I sit here a day, which is a lot.
Right.
And then on the weekend, I could go out and like wield a shovel for 6 hours. Yeah. Anyway, I also went in and fed my bees and kind of checked out and did the last little bits of winterizing Their entrances are all reduced. They've got their screen bottom boards closed up. A couple of them feel really, really light. So I'm feeding them, but boy, I don't know. I'm not giving myself high confidence that all 7 of them are going to come through next year. So we will have to see how many of those I mourn come February or March. But
do bees hibernate?
No, they do not. They cluster up and they just eat their stored food for, depending on where you live, 2 months, 4 months, 6 months.
For the winter months, huh?
Yep. They do have, there's a difference between a winter bee and a regular, like a summer bee. The winter bees have a lifespan of up to 6 months. I think it's up to 6 months. Whereas the average lifespan of a bee in summer is, I think, 3 weeks or so. So, I mean, it's dramatically different, and it's based on what they're eating, basically.
Huh.
So, yeah, it's one of the reasons why it's really important to have your mite control. The mite's really under control in the fall when your summer bees are hatching out. Because if your when your winter bees are hatching out. Because if your winter bees have their immune systems compromised because they've had mites kind of chewing on them for, while they're growing in the cells, then they stand a greater chance of dying over the winter and, succumbing to other diseases and stuff like that. So the fall treatment's super important for bees. Anyway, I didn't treat a couple of the hives, which is why I'm also worried about them a little bit more than the others.
Doing A/B testing?
A/B testing? Kind of, and also kind of this fall was so crazy that the hives that had honey supers on them, I didn't pull the honey supers until late August, and I treated the hives that didn't have honey supers on them in earlier mid-August. So that's the deal. So kinda, but not out of scientific purpose, but out of fate. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway.
That should be a game show. Fate or scientific curiosity? Was it fate or science?
I love that quote that you told me many years ago. What's the guy's name? Oh shoot, Mythbusters. Adam Savage.
Oh yeah.
The difference between science and fooling around is writing it down.
Yes,
I love that. I love that quote.
That is a great quote. And the backstory of that is, it wasn't actually him that said it. He said it on air, but gives credit to, I don't remember if it was one of the writers or the producers or the cameraman that was there, was the actual person who said it. And he just said, that's an awesome quote. Can I say that on the air? And, so he gets credit for it, but in all the stuff that he says in the backstory, he explains that he says, all credit goes to this guy, and he gives the name. I don't remember
that's cool.
The name. So, yeah, but that is a great quote.
Yeah. That should be one of my something funs. Adam Savage has a bunch of YouTube videos. Adam Savage's one day builds are awesome.
His one day builds?
Yeah. I've watched a bunch of them. So anyway, that's fun. All right. We should get to the security part of the Mostly Security podcast, I guess.
Sounds good. I see through follow-up.
I did. I actually threw 2 things in follow-up. The first is about the Zerologon vulnerability. Only because I saw that Microsoft had updated their guidance for the vulnerability. So I'll put the link in the show notes here. But the main thing is that they were clearer that the patch didn't. The patch they released in August wasn't a complete solution, that, more work will be needed in Q1 when they turn on enforcement, and that, if you want to be notified when that's available, you can sign up for their mailing list. But, that's kind of the first one. And the second, I was a little surprised that we didn't hear more about hospitals this week.
In general, I was surprised we didn't hear about more internet-related or ransomware or cyber attacks in the last few days, just in general.
Yeah. So at least as we're sitting tonight, it none of the dire potential scenarios seem to have happened. We'll see. But hospital wise, I wasn't sure. Did I miss it in the sort of cacophony of the election? I wasn't sure. But I'll put a link in here to like a hospital IT newsletter, it looks like. But it basically is an article that talks about some of the mitigations that hospitals are doing since they essentially got a heads up and a warning that this other potentially bad thing, targeted item, may be coming down the line. They depend. There were a number of quotes in there. Everything from taking down email servers, like the company itself shutting down their email servers, to that's a good way to keep people from clicking on links in email. But also, making sure they've got good backups and the backups are stored off-site and, not on the same network, and doing more education of, the workforce and things like that. So, cross our fingers. Maybe it'll help. Hospitals sure have been targeted a lot in the last year. So,
yeah.
So anyway, and this is a situation of no news is good news.
Yes. I don't know what to say other than yes.
And all I could say was yes.
All right. So I grabbed two articles that I saw this week. One was kind of somewhat related. I guess we've talked about typo squatting domains in the past. And this one was an article. It had a note in there that I wasn't aware of, but it was the U.S. announced on Wednesday, so that would be today.
Today is Wednesday.
Yeah. It seized 27 domains that were used by a foreign actor to spread global covert influence campaigns. So 4 of the domains, and it lists them here, you can read in the article, were seized as they breached the Foreign Agents Registration Act, which requires website holders to submit periodic registration statements containing truthful information about their activities and the income earned from them. So that is, I guess, how they went after at least 4 of these 27 domains. And I guess the remaining 23 domains were seized, but they targeted other parts of the world, so not the U.S. And it was the Department of Justice going through a collaboration with Google, Facebook, Twitter, and the FBI, figuring out what these domains were. But the interesting part there to me was the breached the Foreign Agents Registration Act, which I guess is a thing. So if you, I suppose if you want to, and I guess I don't think I said it, I should have mentioned that the websites purported to be news websites. So it was
interesting.
awdnews.com or ahtribune.com. So those were specifically called out because they were purporting to be news related, information related websites. So that was my first article.
I didn't know anything about website holders to submit periodic registration statements.
Huh.
Yeah. And you're supposed to tell about income earned from them. I did not know that. I didn't know anything about this foreign agents. I've heard the I've heard the phrase "didn't register as a foreign agent" taken in
Right.
Context of many other things that have happened in the last couple of years, but I didn't know that had anything to do with websites.
Yeah, neither did I. Apparently it does.
I should do some more reading about that.
So that was article number 1, and then article number 2 is a ransomware attack one. It's not just hospitals or financial institutions or, the types of businesses you've heard about getting ransomware attacks. This one is a toy maker. The toy maker Mattel disclosed.
Does Mattel do Barbie? I think
yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes. Ken and Barbie fell victims to a ransomware attack. And the interesting thing to me on this one was it happened back in July, and it was only revealed through their SEC filing, their 10Q quarterly form. And that's where we found out about it.
Interesting.
And I guess reading through it, it apparently was... they caught it in time and did not suffer a large attack. They recovered from the attack with no significant financial losses. That's why I guess it ends up in their 10Q statement. But it was, we caught this, we contained it, we had some business functions temporarily impacted, but we restored the operations. I would be interested to kind of know what and how they did, if there was a retrospective on that, because that sounds like a positive thing. They either their security software caught it early enough that, or whatever automation they had in places or whatever they had in place seemed to have worked for them, that they weren't required, and it didn't hit the news until they had to file it in their 10Q form. So
yeah, it's this would be a fun story to read. I'd love to know, sort of what the
backstory.
Yeah, what is the backstory? It sounds like short of whatever the ransomware was not being able to get in the first place. Sounds like they did things right.
Right.
So Mattel contained the attack, and though some business functions were temporarily impacted, Mattel restored its operations. I guess that doesn't really say how long they were impacted, or how long it took them to, or how long they did it. But
nope. But they did forensic investigation and concluded that they did not steal any sensitive business data, retail, customer, supplier, consumer, or employee data. So they seem to have escaped the incident without any...
Well done, Mattel.
Yeah.
Well done, Mattel.
Well, there you go. Those are the two notes from me this week.
Well, I have a ransomware adjacent article. So mine that I chose this week, I only chose one this week, was about the REvil or REvil ransomware. So this is interesting because here, I'm going to read this quote. An alleged member of one of the most notorious ransomware gangs in the world divulged numerous details about its operation. So he basically went on YouTube. There's a YouTube video linked in here at least, and spilled a bunch of beans on what it's like to run the ransomware as a service. I guess. So, including that it allegedly takes in more than $100 million per year from their attacks.
Well, now the question there is $100 million a year from the attacks themselves, or from selling the ransomware as a service to other people? I think I know the answer to that one for this specific group, but...
Well, the ransom, there was definitely a comment in here that, ransomware as a service pays much better than just doing it yourself.
Right.
According to the crooks.
Yeah. Being the middleman or being the supplier, or what the right terminology is there.
Right? Those miners need lots of picks and blue jeans.
Exactly.
Although in this case, it's kind of more the, I don't know, what would you say? I guess the extortionist at the end of the day, which is the part that they are, scaling out with their affiliates. And then all they have to do is handle the customer service end of it. Anyway. So the other things it says that he talked about in here, and the interview is in Russian. At least I sure as heck believe it's in Russian. So I didn't actually click on the link because the titles were in Russian, or it's not Russian, Cyrillic. Anyway. So what did he do? So the representative interviewed told host Sergey Redhunt the malware was created from the source code of a separate defunct ransomware as a service where the core REvil members previously were affiliates. So they basically were affiliates. When that thing was shut down, they bought, acquired, got the source code.
Stole.
And, well, I mean, it says they purchased the source code, so, okay. And then went on to, develop their own ransomware. So this is another one of the things. He also claimed that REvil has 10 developers that keep it running. So I don't know. That's like one big or two normal size Scrum teams, and I'm picturing their Jira.
They have 2-week sprints.
2-week sprints. I doing the. Do you have the unit tests for is the key safely backed up properly? I don't know. I'm a little punch drunk tonight. But 10 developers. So,
wow.
Let's see. I pulled out a couple other quotes here. This model has apparently led to skyrocketing profits. According to the REvil representative, one affiliate's earnings rose from about $20,000 per target, $20,000 to $30,000 per target, with a different ransomware as a service offering, to about $7 to $8 million per target in only 6 months after joining forces with REvil. Is this like Amway? They're like, they're recruiting. It's a multi-level marketing scheme. Don't give them any ideas.
Oh my goodness.
You get 5% of the ransoms for anybody. Anyway, sorry. Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. Okay. Anyway, what else did he say? Most desirable targets were agriculture companies, insurance companies, internet service providers, law firms, and manufacturers. And then I thought this was one of the most interesting things. He claimed that most victims pay the ransom to avoid having their data dumped online rather than just decrypting the files. So it's all about the blackmail, not about the security.
So that implies to me that even if they have the proper backups and can restore their systems,
exactly,
they're paying so the data doesn't show up online, which I don't understand, because it's not like they're not, okay, you paid the ransom, we're going to delete it now. They're going to hold on to it, put it elsewhere, sell it elsewhere. I mean, why wouldn't they?
You would think. So, yeah.
You're assuming that they're honest crooks. So I'm going to go with there's a contradiction there somehow, somewhere. Yeah. I can't quite put my finger on it.
Oh, yep. So what's the last thing? The last point I pulled out is that they're paranoid about being infiltrated by security companies or other researchers and stuff like that. So there's a comment in here that they said that they've introduced additional protection measures and vetted new affiliates by asking general political and social questions related to the former Commonwealth of Independent States. Questions that only native Russian speakers could typically answer. So, I don't know. So, that seems fairly limited, a limited form, but, I guess it would take out the first 95% of the population.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought the whole notion of, the interview with one of the ransomware operators, hypothetical ransomware operators, allegedly, was an interesting read. It was an interesting read.
I actually did read that as well earlier.
Yeah.
Earlier this week.
All right. Well, there you go. How about something fun tonight? What'd you bring me?
All right. So my something fun has been around for a while, but Apple came out with their new Apple One, kind of all bundled service. And me looking at, because we were already paying for Apple Music family plan and the storage and Apple TV, it was like, well, if I just do this Apple One thing, I'll just have one bill instead of three, and I will get Apple Arcade and Apple News essentially for free.
I have not done this yet, but I did the math when they announced Apple One back, a couple months ago, whatever that was. And I definitely already pay, what is it, $29.99?
$29.95.
well, but so, that's the sort of thing that I have music, family music, because we've got, I've got a couple of boys
teenagers
in the house that play music and have their headphones in constantly. I pay for the 2 terabyte of iCloud already because I've got, a whole bunch of devices backing up. I'm pretty solidly in the Apple ecosystem. So, and then I think I'm looking at the other things in there because I think that's $14.99 and $9.99. And I think I pay for Arcade already, which is $4.99. So there's my $29.95. Right. Boom. I'm already paying them that. I've got the TV for free because I bought a phone last year, but that will run up at some point in time. And then, by the time, essentially, so by not paying another cent more than I'm doing already, I get the other 3 things for free. So that's why they want a bundle, right? It's it kind of convinces you, and then eventually they'll say, maybe you do like News Plus. I don't know. I haven't looked at it at all. I wasn't willing to spend $10 on it or whatever it was.
No, to be honest, so since we're already sidetracking here, I now have the News Plus with the Apple One, and I've looked at it, and I have no idea because there's still things that I click on in the News app that say you need a subscription for X, Y, or Z. But there are other things that I know for sure I didn't have access before, and it's mostly magazines, which I never really read. Anyways, so yeah, the news thing is a throwaway. As far as I can tell, it's a throwaway. But my something fun, to finally loop back.
Oh yes,
to my
so
something
what
fun.
is the something fun? I forgot that was what
my
we were
something
talking
fun.
about.
my something fun was I didn't have the Apple Arcade prior, and so I loaded up Apple Arcade to just say, all right, and I'm not really big into games to begin with, but I thought, well, we'll go see. Apple Arcade is supposed to be a curated set of high quality games. What can I find? And I stumbled across this game called What the Golf, which is hilarious. It is right up my alley. And if you watch the trailer, basically it is golf for people who hate golf. And it's a physics-based golf parody where the golf course is you're not necessarily always hitting the ball. Sometimes when you go and pull the little indicator back to swing your club, you don't actually hit the ball. You, the person, fly through the air, or the couch flies through the air, or you're trying to push a office chair to the hole.
Funny.
It's very clever, I think, and a very simple game to just kind of pick up and play for 2 minutes and then put down, which is generally the kind of games I like. I don't get into the whole long story, build upon type games. So that's my something fun.
Okay.
If nothing else, just go out and look at it. It's also available for Steam, the Nintendo Switch. So it's not just an Apple Arcade title. You can get it other places. But just go watch the short video, the trailer for What the Golf. And it's just well done.
Huh.
And I was entertained. I don't know if I will keep playing it after, my discovery yesterday for much longer, but it cracked me up and I enjoyed it. So there's my something fun. Whatthegolf.com.
Whatthegolf.com. Yep. All right, that's funny. Okay, well, I only went with one real article, but I have two something funs. So my first something fun is a space one, but it is that NASA reestablishes contact with Voyager 2. So I don't know if you saw this, but
I did.
They took the antenna offline. So I didn't actually save this in March. So they took the antenna that had been communicating with Voyager 2 offline in March for refitting and repairs, because it's been essentially running nonstop for the 40 years that Voyager 2 has been out and rushing away from us. So they only just did basically a test. They got a test ack. they got a hello back, it says. But they had to wait the round trip time 34 hours. Talk about latency. That's some latency. So they've still got further repairs or upgrades to do on it, and so it won't be. Let's see. It says the successful call suggests DSS 43, which is the telescope, will be back online fully in April 2021. So that's cool. A couple other interesting things in the article. It is. They said that when it flew over Neptune's North Pole, it pushed it southward, and it's been heading south ever since. So I guess that means the plane of the elliptic, and so no northern hemispheres have line of sight to it. So they only get contact from radio antennas in the southern hemisphere. And it says DSS 43 is the only technology on our planet with a transmitter powerful enough to reach such a distance, and it is now receiving science data of interstellar space from the probe, because it is 11.6 billion miles from Earth.
Wow.
Isn't that cool? Although Voyager 1 is 13. Where?
Yeah, 13 billion miles from Earth.
There you go. 13 billion. So that's exciting. It's amazing that we still have contact.
The stuff we built,
it was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost.
we built 50 years ago is still functioning, because I'm going to bet that pretty much anything anybody built today, there's no way it would last 50 years. NASA, sure, but, so much of our tech nowadays is throwaway tech or
disposable.
Use it disposable, yeah. Anyways, good on you. 1977 technology.
You say to the guy that I just had to replace a hard drive in his NAS because it failed. So, yeah.
It was not 50-year-old hard drive, I'm sure.
It was not a 50-year-old hard drive. So that's a bummer. All right. Well, anyway, that was my first article. My second article is actually I know space is good with you, but the second one combines building a device with saving the planet. So this is a dispenser for wild birds that gives them a peanut, basically, when they bring a bottle cap. So He trained
Nice.
He trained magpie, a magpie at least, because I think it's the same one he's got a video of it doing this 3 times. So he built a contraption, mostly 3D printed, with some motors and a Raspberry Pi and an Arduino or two. And when the magpie puts a bottle cap in the special receptacle, it fires it recognizes that it's a bottle cap, fires a motor to vibrate loose a single peanut that comes down a chute and comes out. So the magpie eats the peanut and then, goes back with another bottle cap in, who knows how long was in between the time. I mean, it's not very long in the cut video, but it's the cut video. But it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. So that's my like hackster something fun. And now he just has to wait until the magpies figure out how to get into the receptacle that has the bottle caps in the first place, and they can just recirculate them.
Right.
Yeah.
This reminds me of my boy and I are trying to figure out. So now that we have our deck done,
yep,
we want to hang a bird feeder off it somehow. But we also have large numbers of squirrels in our backyard. So we have the if you haven't seen the Mark Rober video on squirrels, I don't know if that was a something fun a while back or not, but go just Google Mark Rober Fat Gus, PHAT Gus. It's a hilarious video. But so we're trying to figure out how can we build something to let birds get access to seeds and whatnot, but not squirrels. So that may be on our something fun project list at some point.
All right.
In the future.
That would be cool. All
right.
Yeah. So go watch magpies retrieving bottle caps for peanuts.
I like it.
That's awesome.
All righty, dude.
All right. Call it a show. I'll talk to you later, Eric. Have a good week.
All right. Yep. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.